Could you make a turn down the street that was barricaded?
You could make a turn, but it was barricaded.
How can you make a turn on a barricaded street? How would you be able to do that?
If a vehicle were to slow down, the barricade could be moved.
So a vehicle would actually have to stop and then make the turn.
That's correct.
Were there any law enforcement officers posted at the barricade?
On that side of the street near Buckley, we had a reserve officer, I believe.
Do you recall if any one of those officers or officer attempted to stop the vehicle?
I couldn't tell you about that.
Was there any report of the officer that was standing at that barricade to stop the vehicle?
Again, I couldn't tell you about that.
So to the best of your knowledge, only you and Officer Butchering attempted to stop the vehicle?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And there were other officers present?
The other individual who was present is not a sworn patrol officer.
Were they law enforcement?
No, they're considered a reserve officer.
Were they wearing any gear that may have identified them as an officer?
I don't recall what that officer or that reserve officer was wearing.
Can we show exit 17 again? Or exhibit 17?
You want it published or just shown to the witness?
I want it shown to the witness.
Permission granted.
Actually, can we show it to the whole court?
Permission granted, it's been received.
Well, before you play it, can you pause it? Before you play it, would it be fair to say that at that intersection that has the red light facing towards the camera, that there is, in fact, someone who appears to be law enforcement standing right there?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Can you,
Rephrase.
would it be fair to say that someone standing at that intersection that appears to be wearing the same police vest attire that you are wearing?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Your Honor, Mr. Brooks can use the touch screen on his monitor as well, correct?
Correct. I'm going to overrule the objection. I think what he was asking is clear enough, so you may answer.
There is an individual on the Buckley side of the intersection wearing a high-res traffic vest.
Is it similar in any way to the vest that you are wearing?
It appears to be so, yes.
So would it be fair to say that the appearance of them wearing the same attire as you, that they would be easily identified as law enforcement?
I would go so far as to say that they would be at least highly visible to people, yes.
Would someone who's not in the law enforcement field possibly for any reason mistake them as law enforcement?
Possibly, yes.
Can you play it just for just a couple of seconds so we can get a clear look at the individual that I'm referring to?
Exactly how many seconds, Mr. Brooks?
I don't consent to being called that name, but maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
Can pause at the 3-second mark, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Can you go back a second?
Judge, it's not possible to jump back in 1 second increments.
Go back to the beginning, please.
Right there.
Ask your question.
Do you know that individual right there?
I don't recall who that was, no.
Did you see them at any time attempt to stop the vehicle or redirect the vehicle?
I did not observe that myself, no.
You can take the exhibit down.
You're done with this exhibit?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You can take it down then.
Can you put up exhibit 18 for the court?
You just want this presented, not played at this moment? Just confirming with you.
I'm probably gonna play it too
We'll get it up first.
for the entire court.
Right, for the record, exhibit 18 is on the screens. Do you want it played, Mr. Brooks? Or do you have a question at this point?
Yeah, I want it played, Your Honor, if I may.
The whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, permission granted.
Pause it right there. Would it be fair to say that that was just a horn that was heard?
No, I don't hear a horn.
You don't hear a horn.
I do not hear a horn.
Can we start that from the beginning?
For the record, Mr. Brooks,
When did you have the
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name, Your Honor, nor do I identify by that name.
The defendant has asked the video to be stopped. It was stopped at 4 seconds in. He's requested that it be replayed. Are you going to have the whole thing replayed, or do you want it stopped again at 4 seconds?
Maybe around that same point.
I'll wait till you say stop then.
Okay.
We'll make a record of it. Go ahead.
Pause it. Would it be fair to say that that was not just a horn that was heard on this video?
I will stick with my original answer on that.
So your original answer would be that you did not just hear a horn on this video that was being played?
That's correct.
And for the record, it was stopped at 6 seconds.
So would it be any reason that anyone else would have heard a horn?
objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Grounds.
Sustained calls for speculation on the part of this witness.
Did you at any time get a chance to read the report by Officer Butcher, who was standing right next to you during this event?
I did not read his report.
Did you have any conversation with him about what he may have observed or heard that evening?
Can you clarify what you mean?
Did you have any conversation with Officer Butcher about what he may have observed or heard on that evening?
I believe that the evening that later, after everything had calmed down, we had talked for a little bit.
Did he state to you that he had heard a horn beeping at any time during your conversation?
Objection, hearsay, move to strike
Grounds.
question.
Grounds.
Oh. Sustained calls for hearsay.
Do you recall what the conversation was about when you talked that evening?
I can't recall specifics, no.
Did you in any way talk about what had happened that evening at the parade?
Yeah, it would be about the parade, but I can't, again, tell you specifics of what we talked about.
You don't recall?
I've already answered that.
But you're sure that you had some talks about what you may have seen?
Objection, repetitive.
Grounds.
Asked and answered. Sustained. Next question, please.
Just so we're clear for the record, From your recollection, would it be fair to say that Officer Buttrin saw the approaching vehicle before you did?
Objection.
Grounds.
Speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained, it calls for speculation on the part of this witness. Next question.
At what point did you see the vehicle? Once it was past Officer Buttrin or before it had passed him?
I saw the vehicle coming from the White Rock location, so it was before the vehicle had even approached Officer Buttrin's location.
Any reason why you didn't move to attempt to stop the vehicle when Officer Buttrin did?
Yes, we oftentimes in our line of work have people, meaning no ill will, just disregard police barricades and other things. So initially I didn't know if the vehicle was being driven by somebody that was just simply distracted or lost or senile. I had no idea.
So it would be fair to say that at the time you had no idea what was going on with the vehicle and why it was there?
At the time, what I knew was that someone had radioed that a car had disregarded our barricades to keep the parade route closed off.
And you heard this on the radio, correct?
On police radio, yes.
So did you hear a car or did you hear an SUV?
I don't recall the exact words that were used. It was a vehicle.
Would it be fair to say that you just said that you heard a car over the radio?
I don't recall the exact words.
Would it be fair to say that it is extremely hard to compare a car with an SUV?
Objection. Argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Would you ever mistake a car in an SUV?
Objection. Argumentative.
Overruled. She may answer.
I think I'm pretty good at knowing the difference.
So when you heard the radio call, were you expecting a car or SUV?
I was expecting a vehicle, red in color, to be coming my direction.
Would it be fair to say that you, before it didn't state the color of the vehicle that you were expecting?
I think the question's vague, Your Honor, as
Objection.
to
Grounds.
when she may or may
Grounds.
not.
Mr. Brooks, hold on. Let her state the objection.
Question's vague as to when she may or may not have indicated the color of the car, Your Honor.
Grounds.
I'll sustain the objection. Please rephrase. It's sustained as to the form of the question.
At any time during the radio report, was there any report of the color of the vehicle, as you say, in the report that you heard over the radio?
The exact color of the vehicle over the radio, I do not recall hearing. I know that I saw a red SUV coming from White Rock.
Would it be fair to say that you heard the radio call before you saw the vehicle?
Absolutely, I heard it before I saw it.
So would it be fair to say that you couldn't have known what the color of the vehicle would be and what vehicle was being referred to?
There was only one vehicle on the parade route, from what I saw.
Were there any radio reports that the vehicle had struck anyone at that time that you heard?
No, I didn't hear anyone say that the vehicle had struck anyone.
Was there any reports at that time over the radio that you heard of a description of who may have been driving the vehicle?
No, I don't recall a description coming out over the radio prior to me seeing the vehicle come across my path.
So would it be fair to say that the radio report was pretty vague?
Objection argumentative.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Were there any reports that you know of, rather by radio or from people who were present in your area that you were, that they may have heard honking from the vehicle that approached?
Objection speculation.
Grounds?
Overruled. The way it was phrased, he asked if she had any information, so she may answer.
I don't have any information about honking.
Can you recall about what time you saw the approaching vehicle?
I don't know the exact time, no.
Were you injured in any way by the vehicle?
I was not injured.
So it would be fair to say that you haven't filed a claim in this matter, correct?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds?
Overruled. She may answer.
I have not filed a claim for this.
So it would be also fair to state that you are not an injured party in this matter, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Could you state for the record who subpoenaed you to testify in this matter today?
The state?
And when you say the state, who are you referring to exactly?
The state of Wisconsin?
To the best of your knowledge, being in law enforcement for some time, have you ever had any interaction with the state whatsoever?
Objection
Grounds.
irrelevant. Vague.
Grounds?
Sustained. Next question.
Did you physically talk to the state about testifying here this morning?
Objection
Grounds?
vague and irrelevant.
Grounds?
Do you mean to ask her if she spoke with the DA's office?
Did she speak to the plaintiff?
Sustained. Next question.
How long have you known the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds?
Sustained. Next question.
Have you read the complaint in this matter? To your recollection?
I have, I believe I've skimmed it over. I haven't read it in its entirety.
Would it be any reason why you didn't read the complaint in its entirety?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Did you have any idea that you may be called to testify in this matter?
I did see it as a possibility, yes.
So it would be fair to say that if you knew that it was a possibility that you may be called to testify, would it be fair to say that it would be best to acquire all the knowledge that you can acquire before testifying?
Objection argumentative.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Are you aware that all police departments are funded by the state of Wisconsin?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds?
Sustained.
If you weren't testifying here this morning, would you be on duty?
Yes, I would be.
Is that why you came in uniform?
Yes, it is.
So it'd be fair to say that right now you're on a clock,
Yes, I am.
being paid by whom?
By the city of Waukesha.
Is the city of Waukesha in the state of Wisconsin?
Yes, it is.
And funds the Waukesha Police Department.
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
During your attempt to stop the vehicle, do you recall the vehicle trying to strike anyone?
I did not see the vehicle deviating in any way, no.
Do you recall it trying to strike anyone?
I think it's asked and answered, Your Honor.
Sustained.
By you saying that you didn't see the vehicle deviate, can you clarify for the record what that means, in your opinion?
When I saw the vehicle coming towards my direction, it was driving in a straight line.
So would it be fair to say that that does not clarify what you mean by deviate?
Objection.
It's argumentative. Sustained.
To the best, as far as you recall, you didn't see or hear that the vehicle has struck anyone. That be fair to say?
That's been asked and answered, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Do you know of any cross streets before you attempted to stop the vehicle that may have been barricaded?
We had barricades up in the area of White Rock Avenue. I wasn't up there at any point in time, so I couldn't give you the exact location of every barricade.
But you do know that there were pretty much barricades throughout the parade route. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, we needed to secure it.
Do you know of any attempts to stop the vehicle before it came to the area that you were in?
Well, I personally observed Officer Buttrin attempt to stop the vehicle.
Do you know of any attempts to stop the vehicle before the vehicle approached your area?
Based on the radio traffic I heard, it sounded like officers had attempted at that time, but I didn't see it, so I couldn't say for certain.
So it would be fair to say that you don't recall?
Objection. That's not
Grounds.
fair to say, Your Honor. It's a
Grounds.
misstatement of her testimony.
Grounds.
Sustained. It mischaracterizes the testimony.
So to the best of your knowledge, Officer Buttrin was the first person that you observed attempting to stop the vehicle,
That's correct.
and then yourself,
That is correct.
with no injuries.
Can you clarify, please?
You, Officer Buttrin, or you were not injured in your attempt to stop the vehicle.
I believe that's correct.
You believe that was correct?
I don't recall Buttrin complaining of any injuries, so I couldn't say for certain.
Were you yourself injured?
I have already answered that.
You stated that you skimmed through the complaint for this matter. Would that be fair to say?
Objection asked and answered. We need to move on to a new topic, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Sustained, it's been asked and answered. Need a new topic,
What?
Mr. Brooks, under 90611. I'm directing you to move on.
I'm just trying to find out what would be the reason not to read the whole complaint. That's all.
Completely irrelevant, Your Honor.
So, grounds.
There's no question.
Did you hear of any incident at Frame Park?
Objection asked and answered.
I didn't ask this week.
Overruled, she may answer.
I did answer that earlier in my testimony.
You may answer it again,
Okay.
please.
I heard that there was a man knife call, is how it came out, potentially in Frame Park.
At any point that evening, did you follow up on that report?
I did not.
Do you, to the best of your knowledge, do you know if, are you aware of any officer following up on that report?
The officers that were dispatched to that call, of which I don't recall who they were, would have been in charge of that.
Did you learn any information about a knife being found?
I did not.
To the best of your knowledge, do you recall any domestic dispute coming over the radio?
What point in time?
The evening during the parade, November 21st.
I don't recall specifically the terms domestic being used over the radio in any way, no.
To the best of your knowledge, do you recall a vehicle being found on Maple Street?
Yes, I do recall.
Did you respond there directly, or do you know if, well, let me take that back. Did you respond there directly?
No, I did not.
Do you recall what that report was saying over the radio?
Objection vague.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question. It's also beyond the scope of the direct exam. Unless you have information she was involved in that. Mr. Brooks, move on.
And what would you estimate the speed was of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
I don't recall asking the speed.
This witness has answered about speed multiple times, but if you want her to state it again, overruled. You may answer.
I said approximately 30 to 40 miles per hour.
To the best of your knowledge, would there be any reason why an officer standing right next to you would not estimate it at that speed?
Objection argumentative.
Grounds.
It's argumentative and it calls for speculation on the part of this witness, so it's sustained.
Do you know of any officers that was in your vicinity that gave a speed estimate of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
No more further questions.
All right, thank you. Any redirect?
Very briefly, Officer Schneider, on cross-examination, you told Mr. Brooks that you saw the driver of the vehicle quite clearly. Do you remember that?
Objection, I do not consent to being called that name, and I would respectfully ask not to be identified with an unknown individual.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Go ahead, Attorney Hoffman.
Do you see the driver of the red SUV in the courtroom here today, Officer Schneider?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. She may answer.
I'd ask Mr. Brooks be directed to remove his mask so that Officer Schneider can identify him, please.
Objection, I never heard an answer to the question.
It has not been answered. Mr. Brooks, please remove your mask. Thank you.
Officer Schneider, is the driver of the red SUV that you've just described for this jury present in this courtroom today?
Objection,
Yes.
hearsay.
Can you please point him out by where he's seated and what he's wearing?
He is seated over here at the table wearing a gray suit.
That's the man you saw driving the red SUV as it sped past you?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
On the issue of identification only, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, I do. You did state that you saw the driver of the vehicle and the driver had hair, and you stated brown eyes and brown hair, correct?
That is what I said.
You also stated that you can see somewhat what they was wearing by a hat or...
That's incorrect. I did not say that.
So you were able to see the driver of the vehicle's entire head?
I was able to see hair, which is what I have said previously.
Would it be fair to say that the alleged defendant that you just identified on the record for the court does not have hair?
You have shaved your head, yes.
Would it be fair to say that you have not seen the alleged defendant shave his head?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. She may answer. I presume you mean the act of.
The act of.
I have not witnessed him actively shaving his head.
So would it be fair to say that, to the best of your knowledge, you do not know, in fact, if the alleged defendant shaved his head?
I am looking at the individual who was driving the SUV, and he now has a shaved head.
That doesn't answer the question.
It does. Next question.
And you stated eye color, correct?
Yes,
Can you see the alleged defendant's eye color from where you are sitting?
I cannot.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
May this witness be excused, Your Honor?
She may.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to take our lunch break now. I have information that the lunch for the jurors will be up in about 10 minutes, so rather than start a witness, just to take a break around that time, we'll take our lunch now. It will be at least an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, but I'd ask the parties be back in an hour. And then also advise the jury and Mike and Pete what time I need them back. All right, thank you, everyone. I'll rise for the jury. right, thank you. We are in recess. Let's have the parties back at 12:35. We can address any issues outside the presence of the jury if need be. Otherwise, be prepared for your next witness from the state. Thank you, everyone.